Tywin Lannister is one of the most powerful and calculating figures in the world of Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire. Known for his sharp intellect, ruthless pragmatism, and absolute control over his family and allies, Tywin was a man who rarely let fear cloud his decisions. But there was one figure Tywin feared more than any other: Stannis Baratheon. In this video, we will take an in-depth look into why Tywin considered Stannis such a threat. We'll explore the qualities that made Stannis stand out among his rivals, and why Tywin, a man who prided himself on his ability to crush enemies, found himself wary of this unyielding Baratheon. First, let's delve into Stannis' defining characteristic: his uncompromising sense of justice. In a world defined by treachery, deceit, and moral ambiguity, Stannis was a rarity. He believed in the rule of law above all else. To Stannis, justice was not just an abstract concept, it was his guiding principle. He would enforce the law regardless of whether it benefited him or cost him dearly. This rigid adherence to justice made Stannis an immovable force in the chaotic political landscape of Westeros. Tywin, on the other hand, thrived on manipulation and bending the rules to suit his agenda. For Tywin, Stannis' incorruptibility was not just a challenge, it was an existential threat. How do you manipulate a man who cannot be bought or swayed by promises of power? Stannis' military acumen was another reason Tywin feared him. Few commanders in Westeros could match Stannis' tactical brilliance. During Robert's rebellion, Stannis' defense of Storm's End became the stuff of legend. Despite being under siege for months, with his men starving and supplies dwindling, Stannis held out until relief arrived. This act of resilience and determination showcased the qualities that defined Stannis as a leader. He was not just a skilled strategist. He was relentless and would never give up, no matter how dire the circumstances. Tywin, who had seen countless lords and kings falter under pressure, recognized that Stannis was different. He was not a man who could be broken by adversity. Beyond his military skills, Stannis had another powerful weapon in his arsenal: his legitimacy. After the death of Robert Baratheon, the Iron Throne's succession became a point of contention. Stannis was the elder of Robert's two surviving brothers and had undeniable proof that Joffrey, Tommen, and Myrcella were not Robert's true-born children. This gave Stannis a moral and legal claim to the throne that could not be easily dismissed. While Tywin worked tirelessly to legitimize Joffrey's reign and suppress the truth about his parentage, Stannis' claim was a looming threat that could undermine everything the Lannisters had built. Tywin's power rested on the perception of legitimacy, and Stannis' mere existence threatened to shatter that illusion. But Stannis' claim to the throne was not his only advantage. His alliance with Melisandre and the mysterious power of R'hllor, the Lord of Light, added an unpredictable and supernatural element to his campaign. Tywin was a pragmatic man who dismissed magic and prophecy as nonsense. Yet, the assassination of Renly Baratheon by a shadow creature conjured by Melisandre demonstrated that Stannis' forces were not bound by the conventional rules of warfare. The use of shadow magic was not just a tactical advantage, it was a psychological weapon that sowed fear and uncertainty among his enemies. For Tywin, who relied on control and predictability, this made Stannis even more dangerous. Stannis' unyielding determination was another quality that set him apart from Tywin's other rivals. Let's compare Stannis to figures like Renly Baratheon and Robb Stark. Renly, though charismatic and popular, was more focused on appearances and personal ambition than on the responsibilities of leadership. Robb Stark, while a brilliant tactician, was young and prone to emotional decisions that ultimately led to his downfall. Stannis, on the other hand, was singularly focused on his duty. He was not fighting for personal glory or ambition, he was fighting because he believed it was his duty as the rightful king. This sense of purpose gave Stannis a level of resolve that was unmatched by any of Tywin's other adversaries. Now, let's consider Tywin's perspective. As a master strategist, Tywin valued the ability to manipulate his enemies. He thrived on exploiting their weaknesses, whether it was their greed, ambition, or personal desires. But Stannis had no such weaknesses. He was a stoic man who placed duty above all else. He did not care for wealth, comfort, or even the love of his people. His only concern was fulfilling what he saw as his rightful role as king. This lack of personal ambition made Stannis nearly impossible to manipulate. Tywin's usual methods of subduing enemies, bribery, coercion, and political maneuvering, were useless against a man like Stannis. Tywin's fear of Stannis was not just about his military prowess or his claim to the throne. It was about what Stannis represented, an unyielding force that could not be controlled or corrupted. For a man like Tywin, who thrived on control, Stannis was the ultimate challenge. He was a rival who could not be reasoned with, bribed, or intimidated. And that made him the most dangerous enemy Tywin ever faced. In conclusion, Tywin Lannister's fear of Stannis Baratheon was rooted in the unique combination of qualities that defined Stannis as a leader. His unwavering sense of justice, military brilliance, legitimacy, alliance with Melisandre, and unyielding determination made him a threat unlike any other. Stannis was not just a rival for the throne. He was a force of nature that defied the rules of the game Tywin had mastered. And in the end, it was this relentless, uncompromising nature that made Stannis the man Tywin feared most. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Game of Thrones, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know in the comments below which rival you think posed the greatest threat to Tywin Lannister. And stay tuned for more deep dives into the minds of Westeros' most fascinating characters.